Creating a CAM reconciliation out of STRATAFOLIO is simple and can be done with one click after the setup is complete. So let's double check our setup and make sure everything is ready to go. So in here, for this lease for the pharmacy store, we're going to go ahead and open up the OPEX tab. And the OPEX tab is separated into two different parts. One is the invoice part and the other one's the actual part over here on the right-hand side. Scrolling down, we're going to open up 2024 for our example so I can show you a full entire year of expenses and do a full year for CAM reconciliation. So in here is January of 24 to December of 24. And down when I've opened up those subcategories, I can see the categories and the subcategories, whether they're controllable or non-controllable or doesn't apply, the monthly invoice amount, annual amount per rentable square foot, annual invoice amount, as well as if there were any caps to this lease, the cap and the restrictions and how much not to exceed for that period would all be listed in here, as well as any other detailed notes that have been added. This last column is your OpEx income item. So what income item is going to get posted on your invoice for these specific expenses that you're passing along. So for instance, there are several of these that have the CAM income expense recovery. So when you create an invoice out of STRATAFOLIO, all of these will be combined into one full amount with that same income item listed. So that's how the invoice section works. In the actual section, we'll click on here, and this is going to tell us, it automatically sets up for the most current date. So this is showing us 2025. This is showing us the period estimate. So for this entire period of time for 2025, this is how much should be collected. Because this year is not over yet, this is how much has been invoiced so far. And then this is showing you the tenant's total portion, meaning all of the expenses inside of your QuickBooks come mapped in through here. Any of those CAM reimbursable expenses get mapped in and taken into account that this tenant is 57.14%. This is this tenant's total portion. How much is their portion of the expenses? When you subtract that out, you will see that at the current moment, if this was the case, we would owe them $4,174. Obviously, again, the year is not over, so we are going to actually switch to 2024 and go back a little bit. So now we see that this has been complete, the full invoice amount and then their tenant total portion. So this is saying that based off of this 57.14%, their cost per rentable square feet are 5.86, and they owe to us $6,868.76. Scrolling down here, you can see that these categories can be opened to show you the subcategories of those. So these are those same subcategories that were on the last page, how much was invoiced, and then also how much their portion is. Again, this is taking into account that their portion is 57.14%, their pro rata share. So if you scroll over a little bit farther, this does separate out January through December or whatever time period this is of all of those expenses posted into your QuickBooks on a cash basis. So if you look in your QuickBooks in January 2024 for lawn care and landscaping, you will not see $85.71 though, because this is already taking into account the 57%. Scrolling down here, you can also expand the insurance and the taxes as well if you would like to. And then when it's time to make those CAM reconciliations, all you need to do is click on this reconcile button, and it exports an Excel document that I have already exported for you over here. And this is what that report looks like. So for the period of time from January to December 2024, the tenant's name is Pharmacy Store. The tenant's pro rata share of this building is 57.14%, which it is 20,000 out of the 35,000 rentable square footage. And then down here, you also have the assets, totals, rentable square footage, as well as the entity. So there are multiple assets in this entity, and therefore this tenant's pro rata share of the entire entity is really 31.5% if you need those calculations. Scrolling down a little bit more, these are those expenses those subcategories that we just listed, as well as those expenses for each of those subcategories. These are the building's actual expenses. If you open up your QuickBooks and run this QuickBooks report on a cash basis for lawn care and landscaping for this class, you should see that this is there was 1820 in building actual expenses. That's tenants' share is 57.14%, so in which case the tenant's total portion is $1,039.99. They have been invoiced $1,200 for this period of year, and so technically their difference would be $160.01 for the lawn care and landscaping. However, when you total all of those up, here you see the building's actual expenses and then also what the tenant's total portion. So their portion of expenses is about 117,000. They paid 110,000. So their difference is 6,868. That information is also listed right here. So that information is in here very visibly to say how much the estimated amount was, as well the estimated amount, as well as how much the actual expenses were for per rentable square foot of the building. On page 2, these are all of that same information. This is separated out by the subcategories. And you can see month to month however much was posted, again on a cash basis, already taking into consideration what the tenant's pro rata share is. If you do make any edits to any of these reports, this is in Excel, but if you make an edit here, it will not transfer over to the front page. So please keep that in mind. One thing you will want to double check when you are running these CAM reconciliations is that if the invoice amount truly is this full amount, that according to the AR report, they actually paid the 110,240 or not. If not, then you will want to adjust that before you supply this information to the tenant.